Let's explore the data from our scenario with some graphs. To start off, the manager of the sales force is interested in how his people are doing in terms of generating bids. So we'll go to the sales worksheet and we'll create a pie chart by salesperson, but it's important that we identify value as a frequency variable, so it's going to sum the various values for each person. The other thing I like to do is use decreasing volume. That way it tells me, which has the largest and who has the next highest amount. And here in labels, I can type in a chart title. This would be potential. I can also go to slice labels, and I'll include both the category name, the frequency, the percent, and I'll draw a line from the slice label onto the chart. When I say OK, I now have a pie chart. It used my label of potential revenue. I have the 4 different salespeople, and it's shown that Ed has made the most bid proposal by Tracy, Ted, and Tim. This is potential revenue. How much of this has actually turned into sales? In order to figure that out, we need to go to the full data set, which only has data that's been turned into sales, and do pretty much the same thing. I'm going to make a pie chart. Okay. Now, Minitab will remember from the last time I was here all of the choices. Well, salesperson is still here, but in frequency, it's important that I go, there's no longer just a value. I want the value from the finance worksheet. And then the label, it's remembering those labels. So instead of potential revenue, I would like to say realized revenue. And when I say OK, I now have another chart that shows, okay, Ed he had the most bids, and most of that has been converted into actual purchase orders, but at a much lower rate. Now, the shipping department manager is also interested in what they can learn from their data. So let's make the shipping data active, and let's take a look at a scatter plot, and we'll include groups in that scatter plot. We're interested in the shipping charge on the y-axis and the actual weight of the shipment on the x-axis, and we're going to group that by carrier. And what I end up with is a scatter plot that kind of shows a lot of data down here in the bottom. So maybe I'd like to see if I can't refine this a little further. So I'm going to re-edit that last dialog box, and in multiple graphs, in separate panels of the same graph, I would actually like to have method. And when I choose this option, now I get the same data, but now it's separated. This is the information for shipments that were shipped by air. These ones were shipped by courier, and these ones were shipped by ground. Oh, I forgot to put a good title on here. Not to worry, it's not too late. I can actually just double click on the title and it brings up the title box. Here's what's there now. I would like to just change that to, and up here I can also change, maybe I want the title to be a little bit larger. I can take care of that as well. Now we might be interested in who are our customers and how much are, who's our best customer and how much have they spent with us so far. In order to get that information, we need to go back to the full data set, and we're going to do a Pareto chart. Under Stat, Quality Tools, Pareto chart, I can ask for the customer attribute data, and the frequencies, again, are going to be in value finance. That's the actual amount of money that the PO was signed for. And when I say OK, I get a Pareto chart telling me that our best customer has been Wegmans. And if I hover over it, you can see that it will actually show me they've spent just over $40,000 with this company. And this also has the cumulative line of a Pareto chart that says, basically our first about 6 customers account for about 80% of our revenue. Now, the salespeople are very interested in how things are going on a monthly basis. So let's go back to that sales worksheet. And, the date of the requests, I have the specific days. Well, I'd like to track things and kind of accumulate them over the month. So what I need to do is go into Data, Date and Time, Extract to Numeric. And I would like to, how much business is actually, coming in terms of requests for bids. And I'd like to store it in a column called month. And I can just type in the word month there with any word with no spaces, and it will create a new column with that variable name in the next available column. And I want it to have month. So now it's just extracted the fact that these were requested in January, these were requested in February, etc. I can go to the graph bar chart, and I'd like to look at a stacked bar chart. Okay. And month says outermost first. So month I want first, and then salesperson. I'm going to go in here to scale, and I'm going to choose to transpose the value in category axes because I find it easier to read when the bars are going horizontally. And the other thing is in data options, again, I want to include frequency. I'd like the value because I want to know not how many bids went out, but what was the value of the bids that went out. And here I have a chart. Oh, now our company goal would be to have $80,000 in bids be made each month. So I'd like to add that goal line on here. Well, if I right click and I go to add, I can add a reference line. Now, even though it's the x-axis, because we transpose the axis, I'm going to show the reference line at y values of 80,000. And now it's put on a line, right? This is our monthly goal. Well, this is the potential revenue. Let's do the same thing for the actual revenue. We'd have to go back to the full data set. We're going to have to create that variable month again. Lucky for us, Minitab remembers what we had last time. Instead of date of request, I'm interested in the date it was signed, but I want to convert it to a variable called month. And now I can go back to the stacked bar chart. I have month, I have salesperson. I do have to go in and change the frequency because now there isn't just value, it's value based on the finance. And when I say okay, I now have a chart that shows month by month. This is the actual revenue realized. And as a startup company, our goal would be $20,000 per month in realized revenue. So let's go in and add that reference line at 20,000, and we'll say okay. Well, we've made lots of charts and would like to give some information to the CEO. Let's summarize this. You can use the layout tool. So I'm going to go back to the first potential revenue, right? How's our sales force doing? If I make this active, I go to Editor, Layout Tool. I can now make one chart with all the information I want. Here I have the potential revenue. I'd like this side of the resulting graph to be potential information and this side to be realized information. So it's showing me down in here a preview of what is this next chart. Well, that's the realized revenue in pie chart form. That's what I want here. But now down here, I would like the stacked bar chart of potential revenue by month and salesperson. And here, I would like the realized revenue bar chart. So if I highlight here, now you can see down here is where it is. When I hit over, I now have the chart I would like to present to management. When I hit finish, I now have all the information in one place. I've got the right titles on here. If I had realized, I spelled something wrong or whatever, I'm still able to double click on that title and I could change that title, or I could convert axes, I could change things. But now I have a chart that has everything I want to give to the CEO of this startup company. Now it's your turn to practice. Good luck.